This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel. And well, you know what? I've waited all day. It is now 4:51 in the afternoon on Friday, and I've waited all dang day for somebody somewhere in Oilers media land to say something that is worth talking about. And unfortunately, what comes out from Gene Principe and Mark Spector this afternoon is just talking about how the Oilers goaltending is good enough to get them where they're going if the Oilers defense and defensive-minded forwards and everybody on the forward core want to play defense in front of them. We've had that discussion a million times. I'm not faulting Principe and Spector for talking about that because that's an important point that it has to be hammered out on Sportsnet because, you know, Leafs fans and Eastern hockey fans and anyone not in Edmonton, and see, that just makes that go completely wonky. Really got to fix the lighting in here at some point, but we'll get to that at some other point. So it's not Koskinen, it's not Smith that we're talking about in this video. It is Kris Russell, and I've seen this pop up a couple of times in the past couple of weeks. Whenever I talk about a trade, it's always, well, we need to trade Kris Russell. No, my friends, we do not. I have been on the trade Kris Russell train for the entirety of being on YouTube. The entirety of me covering the Oilers on YouTube, dating back to November 2018, I have been on the trade Kris Russell train. Problem has kind of solved itself, though, is Kris Russell has gone from a guy the Oilers have desperately needed to get rid of in terms of cap space and what he brings to the team for that cap hit, compared to what you could get and what that would serve against the cap and the math and the points and the everything fancy that you need. But now Kris Russell has become an integral, invaluable member of the Edmonton Oilers on multiple levels. Let's just quickly recap what's happened this offseason. You have an uncertain situation at best with a guy named Oscar Klefbom. Well, yeah, that's an issue, right? If Oscar Klefbom is going to be gone, that's a big key piece of the left side of your defense. So, Kris Russell, a guy who has versatility to play both the left and right side, is going to be needed on the left side this year. Brings a veteran presence. You know what? He can hold steady the third pair on a night where Caleb Jones can't stomach 19 and a half, 20 minutes of ice time on the second pair. So, yeah, Caleb Jones, he's got a backup. We've got a backup. Kris Russell, big time key piece to us succeeding right there. But the other side, too, is the expansion. Kind of scary word for the Edmonton Oilers. Who are we going to lose? Obviously, yeah, you've got a guy like Kyle Turris you can expend in the expansion draft, or Kris Russell, who signed a $1.25 million extension with the Oilers. He's getting paid $4 million this upcoming year, and then the year after, which would be the contract he would be under if he were to be taken by the Seattle Kraken in the expansion draft, is $1.25 million. So Kris Russell, who at $1.25 million about 2 years ago would have been an absolute steal, and at 1.25 at this point, age 33, by then age 35 or so, he'll still be rather useful to the Seattle Kraken at that point. And honestly, if they're going to go out there and be bold, a guy that could possibly be a captain pick for the Seattle Kraken, given how he goes about his business, right? He's a very well-respected hockey player and very well-respected on-ice player. So Kris Russell, maybe dark horse captain pick for the Seattle Kraken, first captain in franchise history. I don't know, but at 1 year deal, probably not. But there's so many things you can sit here and look at Kris Russell and say, well, this or that or the other thing. And for Kris Russell, really, it's been a tale of nothing much special in Edmonton the years he spent there, right? 13 points, 68 games played, 21 points in 78 games, 16 points in 72 games, and 9 points last season in the 55 games that he played. And then he's had a couple of years with Calgary, dating back, where he had 19 points with Dallas and Calgary, 34, 29. Then he's had some weird goes where he hasn't played full seasons with every team. And he's been a regular guy that has on multiple occasions hit 20 points on the back end. So you've got a guy that does have some offensive pedigree and some offensive ability. It's just it's really hit or miss, and you never really find it with Kris Russell at certain times, right? Is the guy, he's not a big time goal scorer by any means. He's not going to go out there and score you 10 goals a season. He's not even probably going to get you 15 assists a season anymore. But Kris Russell, that's not what's invaluable to the Edmonton Oilers about him anymore. He is a priceless piece of this Oilers team now, based on simply the need on the left-hand side of the ice in the defensive zone, and also the expansion draft. Those two things collide. I mean, for a guy like me, I know like I said, beat the drum. You got to trade Kris Russell this whole time, and now all of a sudden you look at the math, and there is no way you can afford to trade Kris Russell. What are we going to do? Place Philip Broberg in the top 6 with Caleb Jones ahead of him in the pairing? No, you're not going to do that, because honestly, you know what's scarier than having Darnell Nurse, Caleb Jones, and Kris Russell as your top 3 left-hand D on the Oilers this upcoming season? Having a rookie on the third pair who's going to have to elevate his game if Caleb Jones has an off night or if Darnell Nurse has an off night. That is a scary scenario. So having Kris Russell, who I know I have had my misgivings, but again, once I boiled it down, just he's good enough to play NHL hockey. Just that contract stings me, rubs me the wrong way. That's my big problem. As soon as we eliminated that whole situation and we came to terms all together on that, it became pretty simple to see that yes, he has value, and especially I will take Kris Russell every day over exposing Philip Broberg or Dmitry Samorukov, both of which will probably not see Oilers ice until about April. But right, you don't want to expose those kind of guys or somebody else in the system coming on up to NHL level hockey. William Lagesson, that's a name I'm trying to remember and a name that I couldn't, but William Lagesson is not a guy I'd trust more than Kris Russell to do the job if Caleb Jones or Darnell Nurse seem to fail us in a game. No. I mean, we've only seen 8 games of Lagesson, and he could turn into the best third pairing defenseman on the left side we've ever had. Okay, great. But at the current rate, right now, I'm willing to tell you Kris Russell is a much better option than William Lagesson in there on the third pair, just based on what I know. Now, what I know of William Lagesson is not much, because he's only played 8 games and rookie go, and right, okay, fair, fine, dandy enough. But yeah, then you add on the expansion draft side of things, right? The expansion draft is tough because you don't want to end up giving up any of your other pieces, and if you can expose at worst a Kyle Turris or a Kris Russell, dang, dusted. That's pretty simple. Those are 2 easier pieces to lose, right? Right now, Kyle Turris is easy to lose because we don't know what we have. We don't know what we're going to get. And of course, you know what? At least if it fails, you know you can expose him. That's why it's easy to expose Kyle Turris right now. For Kris Russell, why is it easy to expose him? That contract is appetizing for a Seattle team that might be looking to take on expensive players in the expansion draft if they can get their hands on them or make big trades, right? Kris Russell is a key piece, third pairing defenseman, or at worst a third or a 7th defenseman that you can use for more than 5 games a season at a cost of only 1.25, right? If you have a guy go down on your left or right side, Kris Russell plugs in there no problem, whereas some guys only plug in on one side and they're still costing you $1 million, right? That $250,000, that's realistically not a big deal, and a $1.25 million with an $81.5 million cap, easy numbers to negotiate on a back end. So it'll be interesting, right? That's the interesting part, is I'm sitting here boldly now claiming how important, how invaluable Kris Russell is to the Oilers. But you'll probably see me once the season starts here in January yelling Kris Russell screwing up something in the defensive zone. That's the way it goes. Welcome to being an Oilers fan. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. Thank you so much for tuning in once again today. It's been a busy day. If there's any breaking news, that's the next time you'll hear from me. If not, I'm done. I'm tapped out. It's 5 o'clock. I'm going to upload this, go eat supper, and I'm going to watch some movies and call it a Friday night in December. Ladies and gentlemen, have yourselves a great evening. If you're new to the channel and you stuck all the way with me here, make sure to subscribe. Click on one of the videos that pops up next, and I will see you in the next one.